Hey there, welcome to NZ Money Karma, where you can find freedom from the daily grind through budgeting, simple living and adventure. Just going to straighten those up. I can see them in the camera. No, good. Welcome along. Well, it's been a big week in our house. If you've watched my previous video, you know that things have got a bit cray-cray financially. We are super stretched at the moment, more stretched than I've felt in years, really, since we paid off the mortgage. I haven't felt this kind of, I don't know, money pressure, I guess. We've got a lot of things that are taking a lot of our money at the moment. Our emergency fund is kind of depleted hugely to a point where I'm really uncomfortable with it. So we're doing what we can to make more money and to put extra money into that emergency fund. So I'm going to tell you today how I have come up with a little bit of extra cash this week. I'm cash stuffing every week because weekly, I'm better with money weekly. It's easier fortnightly because I have to think about it less. But this is a good way to stay on top of my budget if I do it each week. So that's a real benefit. So I'm going to tell you what I made this week. I don't normally do that. I normally just have my cash and that's what I do. So I'm going to tell you the money I made this week. I'm going to tell you how I made it. I'm going to let you know how I increased my income and what I'm going to do in the following week to increase my income further. How can I get more money? This is my entire, I guess it's my motivation at the moment. I'm like, I just need some extra money. How can I get it? What can I do? And feel free to kind of play along with me. If you need an emergency fund top up or you need an emergency fund full stop, maybe you want to try some of these things that I'm doing to get a few extra dollars. Like every dollar counts at the moment. That's how I feel. Every single dollar counts. So, I'm just putting my hand up and going, hey, if there's this or this or this, I'm all over it because I'm going to try and get some extra money so I can top up this emergency fund. Now we have two emergency funds, I guess. Well, originally just one. We have one in an online account. Dave Ramsey, who I am a big kind of follower of, recommends 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. That's what we do. So online, that's what we have. We don't have it right at the moment because we've spent it, but that's what we're working towards, getting that money back in that account. What I haven't normally had is kind of like a miscellaneous slush fund, emergency fund for my cash binders. They're very specific, like I have them labelled with everything that I regularly spend money on. But I really need $1,000 in that, I think. So Dave Ramsey recommends getting $1,000 together ASAP. So if you have no emergency fund whatsoever, then $1,000 starter is kind of what you're after. So that's what I'm doing here today. I'm cash stuffing, and all the cash that I make, so all the money that I make is actually coming into these envelopes and in front of this camera. The money my husband makes, that's staying off camera, and that is going into the other emergency fund. So we used to invest the vast majority of his wage and then save some of it for some other future things that we have on the go. We have decreased our investments hugely. I was originally like, oh, we're just going to stop everything, but we're not going to stop everything. We are just putting in 10%. 10% of what I earn, 10% of what he earns is going into our investment fund still. That's okay. And then the remainder of what he earns is going straight into the emergency fund online. My money, okay, so let's go through that. I got $1,150 this week. And that's a combination of a couple of things. It's a combination of my wages. I work 24 hours a week. It's also a refund that I was owed, which I hadn't followed up on, but I was like, nah, that money is coming back to me. And it was actually really funny when I wrote the email just saying, I noticed it's something I'd overpaid by accident. I noticed that I overpaid, could you please refund me that money? They wrote back and said, it's such a small amount. Would you like me could we just carry it over for the next year? Because this is a payment for my kids that I know I'm going to have to pay again next year. And I was like, no. You might find it a small amount of money. And yes, technically it is quite small, but no. I want it back in my bank account because I want to be popping it in my emergency fund. So that was another way that I got money. With my wages, I got a bigger pay than I usually do because I normally avoid trying to work the weekends. Where I work, if I work the weekends, I will get paid more. I don't normally want to work the weekends because I'd rather hang with my family, but I put my hand up to change a shift with somebody, and for the foreseeable future I will be trying to get at least one day each weekend so that my pay is going up. If I did all the weekends, then it would go up even further, but then I really wouldn't see my family, and things aren't quite that dire at the moment, so I feel like there can be a bit of balance. So that's how I got my $1,150. I've paid 10% of that into our investment funds. I've put some money into the bills accounts like I normally do, and the rest has come here to be stuffed. So today I've got $725 in cash here. I have already used $50 to put petrol in the car. And when I say I actually mean my husband. He just came and took $50 from here and put it in the car. So that's gone, no worries. I'm all good with that. So that's taken care of. And because my emergency fund is a real priority, it's something that's stressing me out. It's making me feel nervous that, you know, there's going to be some other disaster around the corner, and because we've depleted our funds so much that, you know, next I'm going to be taking from the kids' school account, you know, like I'm just going to have to be taking money out of accounts that I don't want to take money out of. So this is a real priority, and today I'm going to put in $100. So there we go, I've got $120 in my cash emergency fund. It's a start, isn't it? It's not perfect, but it's a start. I will just show you here as well. I have bought a few things this week. So I'm not having a no spend time. Things still come up. You know, you have to buy things for your family. That's okay. I've got my cash envelopes. That's what they're there for. But I don't want to run short or be kind of robbing Peter to pay Paul. And I'm here with the September one, and I've only got $5 left before I can cross that off and get on to October. So I'm feeling pretty good about that. I think I'm going to catch up. Once I finish this, I'm going to have $330 in this challenge. That's not bad. For, you know, what has been a really tiny income this entire year. I've normally been working with, you know, a total of $40,000 for the entire year. I guess I've probably spent, what, 30,000 of that, because we've done 3 quarters. And now for this last quarter, I'm kind of like, I need to knuckle down. I need to increase my income. Because sometimes it's not about being, well, it is a little bit about being super frugal. I like being super frugal. I find it fun, and I find it like not wasteful, which I like. But sometimes you've just got to increase the amount of money. You know, like you can save, but I couldn't chop things any tighter. Like I couldn't make things any leaner than I was. So the solution is actually I need to increase my income a bit so I can widen the gap between the two and get on top of a few expenses. So I've done that, and that feels good. I've got some ideas as well. Remind me before the end of this video that what am I going to do next? So each week I'm going to do a new thing which gives me more money to put in my emergency fund. So I've done the swap a couple of shifts option to increase my income. What am I going to do next week to beef it up a wee bit? So this is my 725. The 50's already gone for petrol. I told you guys that. So I've got here tickets and fun. I've got $10 left over in here, and I'm going to put in another 20. So that'll give me 30. I would really like to go and see the documentary about Jacinda Ardern. So hopefully I can, over the next few weeks, get enough money together there to take us to that. I don't know if everyone will be into that in my family, but I would. I mean, my husband would be. I don't know if the kids would want to go to a documentary movie. Food's getting 150. That is a much more comfortable amount of money. I feel like it's so easy to do good groceries with that kind of money. Feels yeah, feels like very spendy to me, even though it's still about, I don't know, $300 less than the average New Zealand family of four spends on their weekly groceries. Work travel, I'm going to be cash stuffing again next week, and then that will give my husband his last lot of money before he heads off on his next trip. So I've got 60 here, 50 here. I'm just going to change out the 60 and put in another 40, so that gives me 100. So I've got 150, and then next week I'll look to put in, say, 50, I guess, again, and then that'll be his 200 that he needs. Here we go, the kids' pocket money. They have $10 per week. They haven't got it, so I'm going to top that up, so it's $20 for the fortnight. They're used to getting paid fortnightly in their pocket money, so that's, I think, why we haven't done that. Petrol's got nothing in it, but we've already spent 50. And then the garden, it is spring, so it is the time for gardening. I still have this massive fence that I haven't painted. We've paid for all the paint and stuff, so it's just a matter of having that combination of a day off, a sunny day, and a bit of motivation. But I am determined to get that done in October, because whilst I love my new fence, I'm just a teeny bit sick of having to do things with it. I went out the other day just to sand part of it off that I needed to do, and all the other days that I've done it, it's taken me absolutely ages. But that afternoon I was like, oh, I'm done with this. Get it done. So for garden, I'm going to put in $40. We have a big garden out the front where our fence has been built, and it's never been nice, it's never been a nice flower garden, because we've always just gone, oh, well, we're going to build a fence there one day. There's no point really investing in nice shrubs or anything. But now we've built the fence, we've got to get some dirt and we've got to get some plants, and then we've got to water them so that they stay nice. School fees, we are going to put in 100 here. I might just swap this out for a 50 while I can. Here we go, so we're even, and now let's grab two 50s. Oh, I can't. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm not quite there yet with my $1,000 back to the bank. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm all right. I'm basically on track with that for the most part. I think I'm a little bit short, but not terribly. Enough that once I've kind of got my emergency fund and I do another challenge, something like that, I feel like I'll get on top of it. But I do feel uncomfortable because I like to have everything sitting there ready to go. I don't at all like the feeling that I'm kind of, behind in some way. So it motivates me to get organised and get rid of that feeling by getting on top of it. So I've got $45 here. I'm going to put in $5 today, so that's going to make it 50. How are you guys going? Do you want to chuck in some ideas at all down below about ways to kind of get money quickly and top up that emergency fund? I'm open to all ideas, because I have some ideas that I'm going to do over the next few weeks, but you might come up with something that I've never thought of, and it's like, oh wow, that's awesome. So please feel free to share, and I guess the more we work together, maybe the more encouragement we give each other, the better we're going to be, because the quicker we're going to get this job done, right? Oops. Righty. Okay, so there's 20, and I'm just going to swap that out for an actual 20. And let's see what we've got in the doctor's pile. 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 20, 40. Now, I actually spent some money today for the kids, just for our first aid kit. We have depleted a lot of things over the rugby season, so I spent $28, and then I put the remainder of my change in my little challenge jar. But I want to top that up again today, so I'm going to put $30 back in there. So we're neither ahead or behind with that envelope, we're just back to neutral. Optometrist is just going to get 10. So if I put those there and I can take a 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 25. I need to book an optometrist appointment this quarter. So at some point that's going to get mostly depleted, I would say. Bikes, we're on top of our bike situation. Look at that, I must have just been boxing along with my $5 notes all the time. I'm going to put those 5s in there and I'm going to give it 10. So bikes have got 1, 2, 3, 325. Is that right? 2, 3, yeah, 325. So I know things aren't dire, like I know we're okay, but it's so much about money, it's psychological, isn't it? It's like the feeling you get, and I definitely get like an I'm safe feeling if I do, you know, X, Y, and Z, and then I get a feeling of like, oh no, the sky is falling, and I have a feeling in my stomach when I do other things. And just this last month with all these expenses, it feels very out of control, and I do not like that at all. So I'm reining in the budget because it gives me control and it makes me feel better. And I think that's why it's easy for me to budget, because I know for some people it's really hard, and I think for me it feels easy because it makes me feel better. And maybe when other people budget, it doesn't make them feel good, or it doesn't make them feel better, so they don't like to do it. Do you know what I mean? Write in the comments below, let me know. Do you feel kind of more in control and happier and like you're safer when you do a good budget and kind of stick to it? That's definitely how my head works anyway. And then the hygienist, 1, 2, and then I've just got a 5 here. I was going to put in 10, so here we go. And then finally the vet, another 10 in here. So 1, 2, so we've got 5 there, so we've got 155, and I'm going to put in 10. So 165. And then one more binder. So last week I said, oh, what do you think it is, this thing? You know, what have we done that's used the last of our emergency fund? I did talk you guys through all the emergency disasters that we had, things that we hadn't planned for and kind of couldn't foresee, that we had to use our emergency fund. And then it's kind of like, oh, in for a penny, in for a pound, let's spend the rest of it. It's kind of how we thought. We really wanted, our kids had asked if they could do rowing. I tried to save for it in these cash envelopes and it just was impossible. I could not do it. I couldn't. There just wasn't enough money to go around for that. But we have taken the money from our emergency fund and paid for rowing. So we have 2 kids doing rowing. It's really expensive. It is a stretch for us. You know, it's the first time in many years that I've had to kind of say no to one thing so that I can say yes to another. Normally, always I've been able to kind of rejig it and make it happen. You know, like I've just always been able to make it happen. And this time I just couldn't make it happen magically or through hard work or grit or determination. I just hadn't planned for it far enough in advance. I'm a big believer in you can afford anything, but you just can't afford everything. And that's kind of the situation we're in. We can afford, you know, anything we like. Depends how long we want to wait or how hard we want to work towards it. But we can't afford everything. And at the moment we can't afford everything. But we can do that one thing for our kids, and we've decided to do it. But it comes with a price tag, and it's put a bit of pressure and stress on us. And that was like the last nail in the coffin to really stress me out with money. But we are going to work through these uncomfortable feelings, as they say, and just kind of fix it, make it right, and then get on track for next year. If we're on track for next year, that'll be fine. You know, we kind of won't be caught by surprise like we have been this year. So good guess if you wrote down something in the comments. Are you surprised that we did that? I'm not surprised. I like to do those things if we can. I know my parents definitely push the boat out often, you know, to help my brother and I have the opportunities that we did, but it doesn't necessarily feel awesome. Okay, so dentist. Oh, I don't have a colouring in pencil today. So I've got 25 here. Oh, I thought I might have a 50 left over, and so I was going to swap that, but I'm going to put in another 25. So now I've got 50. I'll have to colour that in later. We'll just circle that one so I remember. I should also write on here that it's dentist. That's my plan over the summer, to master the art of Canva and make myself some cute savings challenges. I every now and then sit down and go try and then go, oh, I can't do it easily, and give up. But over the summer, I'm going to give it a real crack. You know, I feel like I'm competent. For most things I will be able to manage if I put enough time or effort into it. Now, my next challenge, Christmas. Now, this is a challenge I'm going to be doing next year from like literally the 1st of January. I almost want Christmas paid for by the 1st of January. So it's not hanging over my head like it is today. Oh, crikey, I really needed a coloured pencil, didn't I? I'm very out of practice. So 40, 50, 60 I've got. And on my list, I'm going to put in another 50. So if I put in 60 there, then I'll be able to get a tenner out. So there's 110. And I put in 50, so I'm going to be able to colour in this one. I will colour that in properly, that's just to remind me which one I've done. And this 10. I'm just going to keep that to the side so I don't forget to colour that in. And then it's birthday time. This I originally did for my birthday, and it's my birthday this quarter, and I don't know what we'll do, but you know, we'll give something a go. Today I've got, crikey, I've been very generous with myself. Let's see, I don't even know that I've got enough money for what I think I might have added it up wrong. 1, 2, so it's at 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 55. Yeah, I've most certainly added this up wrong when I've done my numbers. So let's leave birthday till last, and I'll come back to that. So dog food is just going to get 5. So that's got 55. It's good having all these $5 notes. I'm going to be able to swap some out next week. Groom, the dog's had a recent groom, so we're just rebuilding that again, and that's going to be 5. Poor old Tech. I'm sorry, Tech. I feel sorry for you because I never managed to build this up very far because it's the first envelope that I steal from when I run out of money. But hopefully now that I'm going to have my $1,000 emergency fund sorted, cash emergency fund, when something comes up, I'll be able to take money from here rather than take it from Tech. In clothes, I'm going to have $5. So there's $60 there, 65. I do need to get the kids some sports socks. So to be honest, it's probably going to be more than $65 because such is the price of stuff in New Zealand. And it's weird because lots of places, you know, just like my workplace, for example, people don't normally talk about money. People don't normally kind of say that they're stressed or anything like that. But of late, it's literally been, you know, in the smoko room, people have been talking about being stressed about money and what can they do to save money and how can they make cheese go further, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's really been coming up often. So I don't know if that's the same where you are, like if all of a sudden it's just, there's just a lot of, it's on everyone's mind. I think everyone that I know anyway has just been carrying on, thinking, oh, it's just going to get a little bit easier, it's just going to get a little bit easier. And then it's just not. And it's like, I think it might have just come to that point where a whole heap of people have gone, oh my goodness, we're in this for the long haul, what am I going to do? The shoes are going to get $5, so $30. Now, you want to know, right, what am I going to do to increase my emergency fund next week? What's my plan? I'll tell you now. My plan is to sell some stuff on Trade Me. It's not a grand plan, but it's a plan. And we don't even have that much stuff. Like, we're completely, most people would say we're pretty minimalist, you know, like they go into my kitchen cabinet and they're like, oh crikey, where's your sieve, where's your colander? And I'm like, oh, I don't really use those things. So we don't have an excess of stuff, but we do have some stuff. We have some stuff that I've managed to kind of collect to make a bulk offering. So on their own, not really worth anything, but as a collective, worth something. We had quite a few things in our garage, like if we'd done a repair or renovation and something was all right that we were renovating, we've kept it with the idea that one day we'd resell it, but we just hadn't because it just seemed like too much hard work, I guess. So I've taken those things and I have put them on Trade Me. So fingers crossed something sells. I haven't put them on for much money, and it will clear out some clutter and hopefully add a little bit more to our emergency fund. So whatever I get from the Trade Me money will definitely be going here. Oh, this isn't even it. Am I lying? That's Christmas. This one over here is the emergency fund. So fingers crossed we can make some money through Trade Me. So that might be something you guys want to do with me this week. Yeah, have a go. You might have something really valuable that you're not even using and don't have any emotional attachment to, and it might be really an easy win, like an easy way to get $1,000. That's not it for me. I don't have anything worth any particularly good amount of money, but it will all count, you know. Even if I can sell something for $20, that's $20 I otherwise just had sitting on a shelf in the garage. So $15. I'm just going to put in 5, so that gives me 20. 20 is not going to get me very far at a funeral, is it? Not even a bunch of flowers, but we've got to start somewhere. Grading, I'm not going to do anything with. And then rego and warrant. You know, if that's split actually, I can't open that very easily. If I had had a slush fund, like an emergency fund here, when it came time for my rego and warrant, then I would have been okay. We wouldn't have had to use so much money from our emergency fund because it would have been here to use. So I'm definitely going to be topping this one up significantly. And then I was just going to put in 5. I say I'm going to be topping it up significantly. What I mean is I'm going to be topping it up significantly over a long period of time, not today. So there we go, there's $15. I'm going to have to sort that out a bit later. Okie doke, and then that leaves me here $20 for my birthday challenge. That's not too bad. So I do need to try and do 2 every time. So if I'm going to do $20, that means I need to do 19 and I need to do 1. Oh well, that feels successful. And again, the psychological element, doing it weekly, feels good because it's progress, right? You can see every week I'm making progress. And that feels motivating, and I think then I'm more likely to carry on making progress. That's it for me today. Thanks guys so much for joining me. Love to read your comments. Yeah, if you've got any ideas for making more money, share them, not just with me, but everyone else who reads the comments. I know when I look at a YouTube channel, I often sit there and just read all the comments because find it really fun to listen to what everyone else has to say, not just the person doing the video. So drop a comment. I love to hear from you. Otherwise, I'll catch you guys next time. Bye for now.